So the first Monday Night Raw on the road to WrestleMania is done. And there were quite a few talking points, so without further ado, let's get into this Raw review. So we kicked off with main event Jey Uso, 2025 Royal Rumble winner, and he basically came out. First off, the crowd were absolutely bouncing for him, right? I said in my Royal Rumble review that there was a lot of negative comments about Jey winning the Royal Rumble, which I don't think were justified. I still don't think they're justified, because if anything, last night proved that the IWC isn't filled with real opinions, and they aren't real people, you know, in the sense of they are just saying things to get engagement or to be edgy or whatever it is, right? That was absolutely proved last night, because Jey came out, the entire arena was yeeting along with him. But yeah, so Jey comes out, he's basically, honestly, he got quite emotional, and I've seen some backlash from it, because people don't like emotions, apparently, in 2025. But a lot of people saying that he was gassed because of his entrance, which could be possible. But also, he was just getting emotional. I mean, if you think about it, it's the same as when, like, Cody, for example, anytime he comes out and starts talking about his dad, he gets choked up, right? And then after he won the championship, he was getting choked up. Like, that's as real as wrestling gets, right? It is those moments, that's why I watch wrestling. Obviously, it's for the stories and whatnot, but those real moments where, like, Jay's actually having to fight off floods of tears. And obviously, Gunther being Gunther had to come and ruin all of that. Basically coming out and saying, look, I've already beat you 3 times, I don't need to do it again. So yeah, Gunther comes out and basically says, look, I don't need to face you again, I've got nothing to prove. Jay then counters him and says, look, people are always telling me what I should and shouldn't do. Because Gunther was saying how he's going to make his life a living hell up until Mania, and that Mania is going to be, well, deep borderline murder is what I was getting from it, to be honest. But yeah, and then Jay basically turns around and says, like, look, I'm not scared of you, effectively. And then says, like, everyone's telling me what I can and can't be. Like, look, I'll guarantee you one thing, regardless of who I choose, because obviously he's going to SmackDown to have a chat with Cody. Jay was like, look, whatever I choose, I'm walking into Mania as the main event. I'm walking out as champion. I do hope that Triple H pulls the trigger on Jey Uso at Mania, man. I really do. But yeah, overall, the promo stuff, fine. We then had Penta taking on Ludwig Kaiser in a pretty fun match. I mean, Penta has already become one of my favourites to watch since debuting. What, he's been in WWE, what now, like a month? Oh god, that's gone quick. Yeah, I mean, the match was fine. Penta beats Ludwig. After the match, Pete Dunne comes down, which, I mean, I think maybe that's the feud we're going to get. We have already seen them wrestle once, but it seems like that's the feud we're going to get. But then Ludwig attacks Penta from behind, hits him with the DDT. And yeah, that's pretty much that. The match was fun. It was decent. I've seen a few people say that they could have done without it. Which, I mean, it is fair enough. Again, it wasn't a 5-star banger, it was never going to be, but it was good. We then had Charlotte Flair come out and cut a promo. Obviously, she is the Women's 2025 Royal Rumble winner. She comes out, and honestly, I feel bad for her, because she came out, for a start, it was a mixed reaction, but I mean, that was kind of to be expected, because again, the internet and the IWC, even though they're not real, are split on whether Charlotte should be in the main event and whether Charlotte shouldn't be in the main event, kind of thing. Like, it is kind of 50-50. Me personally, I do kind of think it's a bit of a slap in the face to all the talent that has worked hard. Again, I said it in my Royal Rumble review, right? You've got people like Dakota Kai and Zelina Vega with very passionate fan bases who can't even get a push right now, right? Who are lucky to even get on the show at all, right? And are actively working hard every week. And then Charlotte Flair comes back after a year and he's already in the main event, you know? And let's be honest, it's because her second name is Flair. So, me, I'm not a massive fan of it. But again, I'm not down on the match. Charlotte versus Tiffany, if that's the way it goes, which rumours are it will. I'm here for. I think that match will be exciting. I just hope they put Tiffany over. So Charlotte comes out and she's trying to talk. And as like a babyface, and she's saying how much she's missed all the fans. Obviously, she's been out for an entire year. And and the crowd was having none of it. Absolutely none of it. She was opening up about how last year broke her mentally and physically. The crowd didn't care. They carried on booing. Bear in mind, this is on the day that news broke that her and Andrade have separated and are getting divorced. So, you know, great to your compassion there, Cleveland. But yeah, even me, someone who isn't the biggest fan of Charlotte Flair coming back and winning the Rumble and whatnot, even I'm sat there going, I mean, show a little bit of remorse, you know, show a little bit of, you know, human nature, you know. Christ, you know, it's a very real thing she's talking about right now, like, come on. But the crowd were having none of it, absolutely zero. And then Rhea Ripley comes down, and basically there's this back and forth confrontation where Charlotte is basically saying that Rhea is still just a kid because she jumped the gun. She hasn't waited for Charlotte to make a decision. She's jumped the gun and basically gone, Charlotte, pick me. Which Rhea then responded with, oh, now I'm begging you to pick me because I want to beat the respect into you, kind of thing. Again, it's one of those things that these things don't really add anything to the show. It's more just like, look, the champ can pick anyone, and Charlotte is actually going to be on NXT tonight. Obviously, I'm recording this on the Tuesday. Charlotte's going to be on NXT. I doubt she picks the NXT champion. I think it's just to try and throw you off the scent a little bit. We also had Elimination Chamber qualifying matches get underway. We had Io Sky against Liv Morgan. A lot of people thought Io was going to win this, simply due to the fact that they've kind of teased it over the past couple of weeks and whatnot. Obviously, Io and Rhea were teamed up at War Games, and then since then, Io has been trying to get back to Championship Gold. And yeah, basically, Io versus Liv. Decent match. Raquel was getting involved, which then brought Rhea out. Rhea dealing with Raquel, but then Liv put her hands on Rhea, and then Rhea accidentally gets Io disqualified, which means Liv Morgan is in the Elimination Chamber. And then, of course, after the match, Io basically just walks away from Rhea and is like, obviously she's angry, you know. Her chance has just gone up in smoke, you know. So people are kind of in this place now where it's like, Rhea, you should probably give Io a championship match at Elimination Chamber, which I think is probably the direction we go. But yeah, decent match. People are a little bit disappointed with the ending, I think, just because it's a disqualification. People wanted Io in the Elimination Chamber. Plus, I think as well, I think it's the PTSD from fans, because everyone was getting kind of sick of Rhea against Liv. So, now that Liv's in the Elimination Chamber, people are thinking, oh god, if we end up at WrestleMania and it's Rhea against Liv again. Alright, then we move on to the main event. CM Punk versus Sami Zayn. Winner heads into the Elimination Chamber. Obviously, John Cena is already in the men's Elimination Chamber because he's John Cena. So, why wouldn't he be? But yeah, in a high-stakes bout, CM Punk secured his spot in the Elimination Chamber by defeating Sami Zayn. The match was fun. I think it took a little bit of time to get going, but once it did, it was a really fun watch. And honestly, it's mental to think that that's their first time wrestling each other. I mean, at least in WWE, I don't know if they would have crossed paths on the Indies. I don't know, but yeah, really good, fun match. A really good way and strong way to end the night. I was kind of thinking Sami would eventually turn heel, just with people disrespecting him and all of that. I mean, CM Punk during the match was telling Sami, you're not on my level. So, I mean, I don't know. It is a bit annoying as well, because we had Seth come out before this match and try and hype Sami up, and it didn't really go that way, you know? It's one of these things. Sami Zayn, man, like, his booking as well has been so frustrating. How has Sami Zayn not been a world champion yet? I thought a heel turn was on the cards. Apparently not, because Kevin Owens attacked Sami Zayn. Obviously, there was a whole thing going into the Rumble of Kevin being like, oh, don't worry, Sami. I don't have an issue with you being mates with Roman again. You're going to help me at the Rumble, right? And then obviously Sami came out, didn't help him, but he was checking on Kevin and making sure he was alright, which is what friends do. But I mean, look, for the whole Kevin Cody thing, there were people saying that Kevin's right. And, like, you could understand where Kevin was coming from. Like, how could your friend team with one of your bitter enemies, you know? I kind of get it. But now, how on earth can anyone defend Kevin Owens? Because Sami, while he didn't necessarily help Kevin win the championship, he was still there checking on him. You know, he was still being a friend. Like, there was nobody else that was out there, you know, checking on him and making sure that, you know, he wasn't dead. I don't know how anyone's going to be able to justify Kevin's actions, but obviously Kevin came out, he attacked Sami, hit him with a package pile driver, and then actually after the match, or after the show went off the air, sorry, Sami was stretched out, so we may not see Sami now. Who knows? Because, I mean, we've not seen Randy in, like, what feels like years, you know? I mean, Cody is the only one, and again, this is just because he's Homelander. Cody has come back after a couple of weeks, after a package pile driver, whereas Randy hasn't come back at all. So whether Sami comes back in the next couple of weeks, or he just doesn't come back until close to Mania, who knows? I mean, it was a mental way to end the show. Nobody saw it coming. We knew eventually down the road that it was probably going to happen, but we didn't expect it last night. We didn't expect KO. And by the way, Kevin Owens' selling was great. He was still, like, he could barely stand up kind of thing. He had like a black eye, or like a sore around his eye. Very much feeling the effects of Saturday, which I appreciated him selling that. But yeah, a really shocking way to end the show. So overall, I do think this was a decent episode. I don't think it was the best it probably could have been. I think there are moments that you could have done without. And obviously the technical issues, I mean, for me, I've tried to take the technical issues out of my rating for this show, so I'm gonna go with a 6 out of 10, just because it was good, it was watchable, you know, I wasn't bored, it was fun, the matches were decent. Other than that, the glitches were annoying. I do think Jay may have overran with his promo a little bit, but we still managed to finish before 2.5 hours. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for me, and I'll see you in the next one.